And today we are going to be talking about three secrets to high limit credit lines. And this is going to be a fun topic to talk about. My goal today is to be able to help you find the money that you need to be able to get those really big, really good high limit business credit lines so that you can really take your business to the next level. Um, so before we get started, if you enjoy what we're talking about, if you find value out of this, feel free to like it, comment, share, do all the things. We're on social media. That's what we do. So get out there. And if you'd like some free tools just for sharing our live stream, you can go to creditsuite.com/toolbox. And just for sharing this, if you use hashtag business credit toolbox, you get 5 free tools to build your business credit and help you get your business up and going with business credit. So let's jump in. So let's talk about the need for high limit business credit lines. Why does your business need it? First off, when you're comparing business credit lines opposed to personal credit lines, according to SBA, business credit lines, whether they're credit cards, business credit accounts, vendor accounts, even business loans, are always 10 to 100 times higher than personal credit limits. So business credit, with your business credit lines, business loans, you have potential for a lot more revenue, a potential for a lot more money coming in, and really the ability to maximize your buying power. The other cool thing about it is that a lot of the accounts that you're going to deal with as you're building business credit, as you're setting up these relationships, they don't have interest rates, so you're not spending money on credit card interest, things like that. Really, what we're going to be focusing on is getting the business credit lines to the point where you've got these high limits. There's no income, no asset verification, meaning that they're not going to look at you and go, "Oh, you only make $2,000 a month. That's not what we're looking for." It gives you the ability, whether you're just getting started or whether you've been doing this for years, to really get the credit that you need to operate your business properly. And the best part about it is it's actually pretty easy to access if you know where to look. If you have the right tools in place, if you've got the right resources, it's not super difficult to be able to get your credit lines, to be able to get your credit limits, to be able to get those. So that's what we're going to jump into today. So let's start with some of the well-known ways to get business credit lines. And these are things that we've covered multiple times. It's stuff like building a strong fundability foundation. Building your strong fundability foundation essentially means that your business is set up properly, that your entity set up, whether it's an LLC, an S corp, C corp. We always advise, if you're building business credit, don't do it under a sole proprietorship. You're going to lose the beauty of the separation between the business and personal accounts. But make sure that your entity is in place. Make sure you've got your business name set up, your EIN. And in fact, we have a whole mini course already mapped out for you that walks you through the exact steps of the fundability foundation. We'll share it in the chat for you here, so you can go check that out anytime. It's free. It's a great course. Ty sits down with you, walks you through the steps, shows you all the best tools, answers questions, and we've got a lot of training on it out there. But the first step is definitely making sure your fundability is in place. You want to make sure that your information is congruent everywhere. This is a pretty big deal. It may not seem like a lot, but having your business address showing up the exact same on your business license, on the LLC filings, on your bank accounts, every place, even on the application. If it's congruent everywhere, it stops you from getting automated denials. And so you want to make sure, go through, just double check your information, make sure it's set up everywhere, and that it's proper. And then another little secret, another little tidbit in here is, don't use high risk industry names or NAICS code if you can avoid them. Definitely stay away from restricted. It's not going to impact you there. But or if you go with restricted, you're not going to have access to any of them. So try to avoid the high risk industry names and work through that. We actually just released a new video on YouTube about that, and it's got a lot of great tools there. These are all going to help you with the credit approval process. This is kind of the foundation, the steps to be able to get there. But when you're looking at those really high limits, now when we're talking high limits, we're talking like $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 credit lines that you can actually use and really have to leverage your business. And to get those high limit credit limits, there's going to be steps that you need to do to build your business credit. And these initial steps that we were just talking about, it's not actually going to help with the credit limits, but as you start building your business credit, that's the foundation. And then the steps that we're going to show you are how to maximize those business credit lines, how to maximize those credit cards to be able to get you into those higher limits. There's a lot more to getting business credit lines with high limits. It's a lot of it's relationship, a lot of it's building trust with the vendors, the people that you're working with, having everything in order, and then proving them. And that's what we're going to show you is the secrets to proving those relationships and working with you through that process today. So secret number one, this is the fun part. Build a well-rounded business credit profile. And when we're talking about this, one of the things that you're gonna like, I've been on here enough with you guys now that you've probably heard a lot of this. Some of you guys who keep coming back, but having variety in your credit it will do wonders for what lenders are looking for. A few net accounts reporting will help you get your business credit score started. It will get you to a place where you've got that credit history, that your reports are looking good, things are starting to show, and that you're not negative and you don't have bad scores just from lack of credit. But it's the starting point. And it's not enough to actually get you those really high credit limits that you're looking for. So what you're looking for is you want to have multiple accounts reporting from various industries. And when I first found out about this tactic, and we first started like really discussing this topic, it took me a minute to grab onto this concept. But really, if you think about it, what banks are looking for and what lenders and credit lines are looking for is that they're looking to see that you're actually going to use the credit lines. So for example, if you go to let's say you go to Amazon and you apply for an Amazon credit line, they're they're not going to want to just give you $50 worth of products. Amazon's there to give you thousands and thousands of dollars worth of products to really open up your buying power, to give you that flexibility. And so what they're looking for is they want to see like overall spending, because in a lender's mind, if they look at it and they pull it up and uh, so the examples on another slide here, but we'll get into that. But if they start looking at it and they see that you've got $5,000, $10,000 of monthly expenses that are being documented, they're not just looking at that from okay, he pays his bills. I mean, that's part of the equation. But the other side that they're really taking into it is realizing that, look, if you're spending $10,000 here and we can take some of the money of what you're spending over here, it's going to entice them to be able to open up those higher credit lines for you, because they see an opportunity for that you're actually a good customer that can bring in a lot of revenue. So what we're doing here with this is we're actually focusing on painting a better picture for your credit providers. Um, so it looks like Tyson had a question in here. If your regular personal credit limits are high, will that make your business credit limits higher? And it looks like Brian answered, fundability is keys. They're separate. So Tyson, that's a great question. Yes, if so, it's two-sided. When you're looking at business credit accounts, if you're going the route of no personal guarantee, you're focused on the business credit lines with vendors that are going to offer it to you without a personal guarantee. They're not actually looking at your personal credit scores at all. So having those high limits on your personal credit doesn't help. It doesn't have much of an impact. If you're looking at it from like a business credit card standpoint and they're doing a credit check or they require a personal guarantee, those higher limits on the personal credit are actually going to play into that. It can be responsible with higher limits on the personal side. It builds that trust and that confidence with them as well. So let's talk about painting a better picture for credit providers. The credit reports, when you're working on building a business credit profile, you're working on putting all this stuff together. You have to keep in mind that your business credit reports are an unbiased third-party verification of your payment history. That's why lenders love them so much. It's not because you're going out and saying, "Hey, look, I pay my bills." You're saying, "Look, I pay my bills, and here's documented proof that I do it," from the companies themselves providing this information to the credit bureaus. And that's really why credit reporting is so critical in everything that you do, whether it's business or personal. It's because it's not you who's telling them that you're good with your money. It's the actual lenders. The lenders are the ones who are actually using your credit reports to, or submitting the payments for your credit history. Account variety also shows a more complete picture of spending and cash flow management, meaning that if you can sit down and you show them that you've got a $10,000 portfolio that you're constantly using, that you're constantly running, it shows them where your expenses are going. It shows them that you're using the money, but it's not only that you're just using it on a one-off basis, but you're consistently using it, that you're consistently spending thousands of dollars with these companies, and they're going to want to compete for that. So painting that picture, keeping in mind that you're documenting what your finances are doing, you're having the lenders go through and actually put together a report to verify your credibility. So, for example, if you're spending $1,000 at Granger monthly, that's good. That's not a bad thing. It's going to report on your credit report. It's going to give you the service you need. But if you add $2,000 of monthly fuel purchases plus $500 and let's say creative marketing, and you start using that, now they're not looking at it going, he's got $1,000 that they use. No, now you have $3,500 that you're consistently spending money on, that you're showing that track record, that you're showing a good payment history of what it's supposed to be. So variety is the spice. Credit issuers give credit lines when they can make money. Again, just keeping that in mind, keeping that at the top of your mind, understanding the mentality of credit providers. They want to give you money. They make money by loaning you money. They make money by giving you these credit lines. And when you keep in mind that if they can see that they can make money off of you, it's going to open up a lot more opportunities because they're looking at it more from a revenue standpoint from them, not just a, hey, I'm going to extend you credit and make money off of this. They're looking at it. Amazon's going, we're going to make thousands of dollars off this one person having this credit line. So having that variety is good. Having that there, and the more they see potential for revenue, the higher the limits are going to be. And we'll get into that more in depth here because that's something I'm really passionate about. And variety shows credit providers opportunities to earn with you more. So that's keeping that in mind is really going to help. So it looks like we had a question here. Tyson had another question. Is it true that DMB is going away? And then it said, I heard it was supposed to be replaced with a UEI. That UEI is actually not replacing Dun & Bradstreet. Dun & Bradstreet has traditionally been the verification process for any government contracts of government lending. So now they're actually replacing that. And the UEI is going to be just for business contracts. The government took that away from Dun & Bradstreet, and then they created the UEI just for the government contracting. Dun & Bradstreet's still the largest business credit reporting agency that's out there. It's not going anywhere. It still has its purposes. It's just that one little function of verification for government contracts has been replaced with UEI. All right, so let's jump into the second secret for your high limit business credit accounts. The more you use, the more you're going to get. If you have an account and you never use it, there's no payment history. Just that simple. You could have 100 different accounts that they are open that you have access to, but if you never use any of them, there's never a payment history. And the reason is very simple. You haven't made a payment on it. If you don't make a payment, there's no history for them to report. It's a pretty straightforward process. So vendors are not going to pay much attention to having a bunch of accounts on your credit report that aren't being used. Consistent use of the credit lines entices businesses to give you those higher credit limits. So let's just stick with the Amazon example. Let's say you apply with Amazon. Excuse me, my coffee's coming back and attacking me here. So let's just stick with that Amazon example. You get approved with $1,000 credit line with Amazon or $5,000 credit line. It's good, you're using it, but if you don't use it, they have no reason to actually increase your credit limit with it. So if you've got a $5,000 credit line, you're only spending $50 a month on it just to get the reporting that's there. That has no value to the vendors. That gives them no incentive to be able to raise your credit limits. They're going to look at that as, we're not going to make any more money off this person. It doesn't really matter if we increase their credit lines. It doesn't really do anything for us if we give them access to more money. So consistently using your credit lines is part of the process. And then ask nicely. After 6 to 9 months of consistent use, request a credit line increase. Now you can do this anywhere in the process. So if you're in the middle of the business credit building process, and let's say you're on tier 2 or tier 3, and you're really just getting into the flow of building up the business credit and getting things going, those you can start requesting credit lines or credit limit increases early on in the process. So let's say, on average, it takes about 6 months to really build and establish your business credit where you want it. Within that 6 months, you could be going back to your initial starter vendors that you use, requesting credit line increases. And then now, when you start applying for the bigger unsecured credit lines or revolving credit, cars, things like that, auto finances, now they're looking at it going, he's got this good trade line that he has history on for 6 months. And it's showing that it's got a $10,000 limit. And it may be a Granger, it may be a Uline, it may be, a starter account that's is kind of okay for you, but you can still use it, you can still find value. But what you're doing is you leverage that into your reporting and beefing up the strength and the health of your credit report. The better the use and payment history, the higher the credit limits. Again, and I hope you kind of see a point here. The more you use it, the more you're going to get. The more that you're actually using those credit lines, the more that they're going to see that. When a lender looks at your credit report, one of the things that they can see is they can actually see your highest credit limit that you've ever used. And I think it's called high balance is the actual terminology. So they're going to look at your high balance, and if they see a high balance of $50 on a $5,000 trade line, they know that you're just using that essentially for reporting purposes, opposed to if they see, the $4,000 use out of a $5,000 credit line. Now they're starting to look at it like, okay, this person's using it, they're paying it off, and it's being consistent. So the better, the more you're using it, the more consistent you are, the more your payment history show up, the higher credit limits you're going to get. And once reported, the newer higher credit limits are going to help you get approved for more high limit credit lines. It's again, the more that you have, the more that you can get, the more that you're using it, the more that you show that yourself as financially responsible. The business has that in order. The more offers are going to start to come up, the higher the limits are going to be when you start applying. So let's jump into the secret 3. I feel like I missed something here. Yeah, secret 2. All right, sorry about that. Secret 3. Let's you start with the end in mind. Now, I run the Credit Suite, the Get Business Credit group on Facebook, and we've got like 50,000 members in there. And I see this all the time, and I see this on social media. I see this in conversations, and even talking with some of you guys. A lot of times, you're building business credit for that end goal, and doing that is not a bad thing in and of itself, but the you're missing the depth of the power of what business credit can really do for you, and the ability for it to actually really open up your finances, and for it to give you that 30-day window of freeing up your cash flow, giving you more control over your finances. So to do this, the best thing to do is start with the end in mind. When you start building business credit, it's actually going to, you want to start looking at what is my end goal for using this. So you're thinking portfolio status. You're thinking, how do I run that? How do I run my business? How do I run it for the long game? How do I start building the credit lines for what I need? How do I get vehicles, all the gas lines, all the maintenance, everything that you need is there. So to do it, you're going to build a credit first accounting system to manage your cash flow, meaning that you're going to, everything that you can put on your business credit, you put it on your business credit. You show that great payment history. But now when you're doing that, it's doing two things. One, it's building your business credit information, or your business credit history, which means your scores are looking better, the health of it's looking better, your credit limits are going up. But the other side is now you've got 25, 30, 60, 90 days to pay off those purchases, meaning that you've got freedom now. You've got some room to go out and earn more money. You've got a way to be able to get the resources and tools you need now, so that you can grow the business, you can make the revenue, pay the credit lines off, keep your profit. And so it's this interactive thing that you can actually use to leverage for the growth of your business for the long term. And it's not just something you have to do now, it's something you can do for the rest of your business life. Having that portfolio there goes a long way. It's one of the best uses for business credit that most of us overlook because we're looking at I want to get this amount of credit, I want this credit card, I want this loan, I want this. But with that, you're kind of skipping over some of the best values of what you can do with business credit and what you can do with building the portfolio. So as you start going through this process, as you're looking for those high limits, start building the portfolio. Keep in mind this is going to be a process. This is something that you're working on for the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, for the life of your business, and you keeping yourself in that mentality. Use your business credit first and protect your cash flow. And using business credit for the tool as it is. Work with vendors that you can actually use to grow and run your business. And this is something I can't stress enough. Find companies that we all use gas. You're going to use gas if you're running a business. If you don't need something from an office supply store, don't get an office supply trade line. Again, if you're not using it, it has no value. It has no impact on your business credit reports. So you want to find vendors that you can actually use that are going to report, that you can start building that consistent relationship with. It's going to improve your buying power because, again, now instead of looking at your bank account going, I've only got $10,000 to invest in the resources I need. Now you've got $10,000 to invest in the resources, plus you've got $50,000 of business credit available, plus you may have another $100,000 in business credit cards that are available that you can start using. It opens up, it frees up your finances, it lets you be more creative, it lets you be more flexible with how you're spending your money, how you're using your money to actually grow the business. And it's going to protect your cash from fraudulent activities, making purchases online. If something gets hit, it's coming out of the company's account, not your cash account, not your cash flow. So having that business credit first mentality, using it as a portfolio, is going to protect you from activities, and it's going to stretch your cash further during hard economic times. Because let's face it, we all know it's here. We're all dealing with it. We're all fighting and swinging as hard as we can to get out of this and to keep things moving. But having that extra 30 days, 60, 90 days with those net accounts, having those full revolving options is really going to help your money go further for you. It's going to give you more breathing room. It's going to improve your buying power. It's going to give you all the resources that you need so that you can actually really legitimately run your business off of credit and manage it from a strategic standpoint and getting what you need. And again, the more you use, the more you get. You're going to lose it if you don't use it. That's one thing about business credit. They're not going to just leave accounts open for you because you're a nice guy, you're a nice lady. It doesn't work that way. They're really going to, if you don't use their credit lines, they're going to shut them down. Especially right now, the more that you see that the credit markets are tightening up, the more you see things start to tighten up financially. Businesses and banks are looking at hedging their exposures, and so as they're hedging that, they're looking at it going, hey, look, we've got X percentage of accounts that aren't performing. Let's go ahead and just shut these down. So use your credit accounts. If you don't use it, has no value to you, and it'll just get shut down. And then it was basically just a waste of time and an exercise of futility for you. The more credit you use responsibly, the easier it will be to get higher credit limits. Just like personal credit, just kind of common sense there for you. And credit issuers will reward you for having a consistent relationship with them. The key on this is relationship. The more that you're using a company, the more they see that you're in there, the more that they see that they're making revenue off of you, the more likely they're going to give you those higher credit limits. The more likely they're gonna extend you more credit. They're gonna start making more offers. And not only that, it's not just them that are gonna look at it, but let's take fuel for an example. I live in the Midwest. I live in the Kansas City area. Quick Trip's huge around here. Like it's like the home of Quick Trip here. So like if you have a credit card with Quick Trip and you're constantly using it, and they see your business is going $5,000-6,000 a month through fuel at Quick Trip, and that's documented on your credit report. Let's say Exxon is looking and they're going to start marketing to you because they can see your business credit profile. They can see that you're using that. So they may come back and go, look, I'll give you a $10,000 credit line if you'll move some of that over to us. So the more you use it, the more you have those long-term, good, consistent relationships, the more value it builds with the vendors that you're using. But it also builds it with future ones that are looking at your business credit profile, that are looking at trying to get in on some of the money you're spending. So where does Credit Suite help in this? Our job here is to help you build a strong credit portfolio. We're going to give you access to the largest selection of reporting vendors that are out there. Take the guesswork out of the business credit building process. Again, don't be going out and opening accounts with people that you're not going to use. It has no value to you, has no value to your credit report. Let us help you find vendors that you can actually use, that are going to be beneficial to your business. And not only that, we've got hundreds and hundreds of vetted vendors, whether they're in the building process or whether you're really focused on building out your portfolio. You have access to hundreds of different vendors that you can use for that. And vendors and the criteria are constantly changing. They're constantly being updated. And so we're always on top of it. We have a team within Credit Suite that all they do is communicate with vendors. All they do is talk with credit providers, make sure that we're providing the most up-to-date information, and just making sure that you have access to what you need. And finally, we're going to make sure your fundability foundation is properly in place. Make sure you're properly set up, and that you're able to use. So that's all. That's why you want to work with us. And if you have questions, you can reach out to us at creditsuite.com. I'm gonna skip the recap. You guys have been here. You can give us a call at 877-600-2487. Email us at info@creditsuite.com. Hit us up on Messenger. Send us smoke signals. However you'd like to reach us, we're always here to help. And if you have questions, you want to find out about where you're at with your business credit, what steps you can take to actually start building more business credit to be able to get these high limit credit lines, reach out to us. Give us a call. We'd love to help. Our team's here, and we'd be more than happy to answer your questions. Make sure that you've got everything that you need to successfully access your business credit and get the funding you need to grow your business. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. We look forward to talking with you, and we will see you next time. Thanks a lot.